ETM Hotel, Rennie Sean, welcome in peace. My name is Sean. I'd like to thank everybody for tuning into the Kofi Pie Side Research Team. Welcome back. See what we're about to get into. We about to bring it in with the real information. Y'all see the topic, the Hebrew origins of Obeah and Linguistic Nightmare by Zion Lexx. We're going to get into that. You got me on the panel. I'm by myself. And we got T'Challa. I don't know if he can speak. Bangara.
Yeah, man, my stream was tripping.
I don't know if Sutek gonna be anywhere. But don't worry, Sutek. I got the right one uploaded. I had the wrong one uploaded. But don't worry. We got the right. But what's going on, everybody? Like the show, share the show. I am not getting started yet. I am waiting on 2 people. 3 people. One of them in the chat. One of them in the chat.
Hey, Sean, I ain't giving none away. I'm just saying your man's in trouble.
He in trouble.
He in trouble.
Hey, we gonna do what we do. All right. So look, everybody watched the video. They had a chance to review his source for his claim. And it is what it is. He also, not he, but we also have sources in the description of the video for anybody that want to go back and contract those and deal with it. So before we actually really get going, let's go ahead and introduce T'Challa. Go ahead, T'Challa. Go and introduce yourself, man.
Yeah, you already know I'm working with this thing in my voice, but
Yeah.
you know it's your boy out here in the Windy City trying to hold it down. It's been a minute. Glad to see everybody still supporting us. Peace and love to the fam. Like and share the show.
All right. Look like we got somebody else that just joined us.
Yeah, man. Share Lafayette. I ain't know who you talking about. Me or Coach, but
I couldn't see.
peace to the fam, man. We appreciate y'all for coming through. We black at it. Like the show, share the show. I'm giving y'all a little treat. We getting into the nonsense. Y'all love this.
What they love.
I'm gonna roll it.
They love the nonsense, the wickedness. As my Hebrew brother say, the wickedness.
You see what it says? The funniest thing ever was when I was like,
And we got brother Kofi in the building.
you need to vlog.
Man, peace, man. Peace and Black African power, man. ETM Hotel, do our nature from five.
It was raining outside. So
Dang, bro, I'm tired. I can't even get it out, man. But y'all know the rest of the spiel, man. But I didn't even know y'all. Calm down for a minute. I didn't even know y'all was had to jump back live. I was trying to finish listening to the video. But
okay,
I'm ready, man. When y'all get ready, I got something when we talk about the Oldinani, because the word he's recommending Oldinani is what he's talking about, a way of life. He's talking about Oldinani. So I'm trying to get it so I can get it over here on my thing. I got some sources from my presentation that I did on the Igbo people. So we just want to establish, I want to just establish who the Igbo people and what he keeps saying, Omi 90, which is Ondi 90, their way of way of life. So we want to talk about that and see if they mention the word Yah. You know what I'm saying? That they deities, the archangels, and etc. But I'm ready, man. Let me see if I can get this over here on this other.
All right. So while you're doing that, I'm gonna give you time to do that.
Mm-hmm.
And
I could go an hour.
we'll go ahead before we get started. I do want to say,
but what would you do if you have a second?
the Infinite, Keenan, Zane, Teddy, Pure, Spins, Keenan, Ed, 9x9 Insignia, Kimoyo from West Africa. Peace to everybody who ain't said nothing. Peace to all the onlookers who will catch the replay. Like the show, share the show, tell a friend. We live, and we dealing with the Hebrewisms. You can go on and get them in the building. Mika, get your friend in here. It's okay. So I'm gonna play from his actual video without interrupting. I'm gonna play him all the way through. If the brothers want me to go back and play it again, I'm gonna play it again. But I snipped it. We got the video chopped where we needed to. I'm just showing you that I actually got his live up. You know what I'm saying? Before I do that, somebody do me a favor and hit the copyright infringement for me. You know, because I don't want nobody, you know what I'm saying? Trying to play
stream, y'all keep signing me out. I was about to do it. I forgot I'm signed up. Kofi, you got it.
Let me take infinite comment off.
Yeah, let me.
I had nothing.
What's going on with?
Okay, on my mom.
Hold on, let me see if I
can go to
can.
work. I said,
I forgot where it's at.
So I've got my stuff right. So I went outside with a jacket on and the underwear. So I was like, okay.
Bryson over there macking.
Like father, like son. like father, like son. You want me to play this song? Are you
no, sir.
You say something?
No, I ain't saying nothing.
What's up, Mac and Bryce?
What's up? What's good?
Hello.
What's good with you? What's up, Tutti Frutti? Here we go.
You guys support the platform. Show your love, guys.
1 hour mark.
Obeah in West Africa and its Hebrew origins. Among West African peoples, namely the Ashanti and even the Yoruba, there's a term known as Obayifo, which represents a practice known as Obeah. The linguistic relationship between the Ashanti term Obayifo in West Africa and Obeah among the Hebrews in the Bible. In the book of 1 Chronicles, chapter 28, verse 7, King Saul is said to have visited an Obeah woman. And watch this. I'm going to pull this up so y'all guys can see this live. I'm not even going to play with this. 1 Chronicles, all right, 28 and 7. We're not playing today, y'all. I'm going to give you guys everything. Not holding back. I'm going to give y'all everything. So make sure you guys support the platform and show your love. 1 Chronicles 28. Excuse me. 1 Samuel. Excuse me. 1 Samuel 28. My apologies, y'all. 1 Samuel 28.
If you look at the screen, he has it in Hebrew and the translation in English. If you look down here, that's his word, but watch how he pronounced it.
Okay. 1 Samuel chapter 28, and we're going to scroll all the way down. King Saul is fighting a battle. King Saul is fighting a battle against the Philistines. And the Philistines are giving King Saul all kinds of hell. The prophet Samuel dies. So King Saul no longer has anybody to go and consult. He doesn't know how this war will fare. And he's afraid as hell because he doesn't know what's going to be the outcome. So watch what he does. At that time, the Philistines mustered their forces to war to take the field against Israel. Achish said to David, "You know, of course, that you and your men must march out with forces." David answered, "You surely know what your servant will do." In that case, Achish replied to David, "I will appoint you a bodyguard for life." Now Samuel had died, and all Israel made lament for him, and he was buried in his town of Ramah. And Saul had forbidden ghosts and familiar spirits in the land. The Philistine mustered, and they marched to Shunem and encamped. And Saul gathered all Israel, and they camped at Gilboa. When Saul saw the Philistine force, his heart trembled with fear. And Saul inquired of the Lord, but the Lord did not answer him, either by dreams or by Urim or by the prophets. God turned his back on King Saul. So King Saul is fearful of the advancing Philistine army, who is growing ever stronger. Rather than humble himself and go and ask David to help, he goes and inquires of someone else. Look at what King Saul does. Then King Saul sent his courtiers, and he says, "Find me a woman who consults ghosts, so that I can go to her and inquire through her." That word in Hebrew, guys, is Eshet Ba'alat Ov. And I'm going to highlight it. Eshet Ba'alat Ov, or Obeah woman. I hope y'all hearing me. Obeah woman. Eshet is how you say woman in Hebrew. Ba'alat is how you say mistress. Ov is a reference to this particular form of divination or ancestor intercession, because that's what this is, where they're communicating with the dead on behalf of the living. In West African traditions, this is known as African ancestor intercession. African ancestor intercession. The term Eshet is how you say woman in Hebrew, or woman of. And then you have Ob. I'll tell you right now, my family comes from the Caribbean. And in the Caribbean, we know all too well about Obeah and the Obeah woman. The fact that this is recorded first in the Bible, and you later see it in West African tradition, is further evidence of how many West African tribes have deeply rooted roots in Hebrew culture and society. The fact that you see it recorded first,
Man, my bad, man. I couldn't hold it in.
shows you that various West African tribes actually have origins among the Hebrews of the Bible. The very same term to denote the woman that Saul goes and consults is the same term used in West Africa and all throughout the Caribbean. You are said to go and visit the Obeah woman, which in the Hebrew Bible is the Eshet Ob. The Eshet Ob. Here we go. I hope y'all enjoy this information. Come up the video, y'all, and share the live. I hope you guys are enjoying the information. I promise you, we're going to be in rare form tonight. Here we go. You guys can see my screen. We're going, and we're going. So again, the term Obeah, found all throughout the Caribbean. Even in America, there's a form of Obeah. All throughout South America and all throughout West Africa, it has biblical roots. King Saul goes and visits an Obeah woman. Now, we're not saying that this was the right thing to do. So when we highlight that this is occurring among African tribes in West Africa, we're not applauding this. What we're actually saying is many of the heathen customs of the land followed our people throughout their historical migrations. Because remember, Israel was kicked out of the land because they did not keep the Torah. So as they're leaving the land, all of their pagan and occult practices are following them.
Bruh.
So the first time you hear of an Obeah woman is not in West Africa, and certainly not in the Caribbean. It's right in the Hebrew Bible. Let's keep going.
Go ahead, T'Challa.
What did we just watch?
I couldn't hold it in.
Okay. Oh, I just want to get mine out the way because of my voice.
Go ahead.
I just got a couple questions. You know, I'm gonna stick to one lane because I'm not gonna jump all over the place with him. I'm gonna stay with linguistics. Okay. And I got a couple linguistic questions. Number one, which dialect of the Ashanti which language are we talking about of the Ashanti? And of that language, which dialect? And then we got to show the cognates, right? We got to establish the same sound and meaning correspondences from whatever language, mystery language of the Ashanti he's talking about. And we got to connect that to the dialect of Hebrew that he teaches. And we got to show that among those Hebrew words in that dialect, that all, not just those two languages, we got to find several languages with this that connects that dialect of Hebrew with that mystery language of the Ashanti people. That's like my main point right there, number one. Number two, the fact that you're coming from a biblical narrative, you've already non-ciphered yourself. You can't take Middle Eastern folklore and say that it was first recorded over here and now it's going to be trumping what these people have got going on over here. Way across over in West Africa, he done skipped over Egypt, he done skipped over all of North Africa, he done came all the way over into the Ashanti. So again, I say, which language of the Ashanti is he talking about? Which dialect of that language? And then where is the sound and meaning correspondences that show the cognizance of that version of Hebrew with this mystery language and with the words that he's talking about? That's the same word. Ya'ov or whatever he was saying, they don't, you can't just take Hebrew and attach that to an unknown language at that in Africa. That doesn't make sense. But I digress.
I want to start. I don't know how you wanted to do this, Sean. How you want to do this? You want to keep playing the rest of the video out? Was that the rest of the video that you was gonna play? How you want to do this?
No. Our focus was on that 8 minutes.
Okay. All right. Now I'm gonna share my screen in just a minute, and I'm gonna show my presentation. I will show it. I got a PDF that I'm gonna put in the chat about, because he mentioned in there, he's talking about the Igbo people, right? He's talking about the Igbo people way of life. He was saying their way of life, and he was relating how the Odinani to this Hebrew word, whatever it was, this E word that he was talking about, right? So, and the title of his video is old, but he's saying a correspondent or this word go back. I didn't really pay no attention to it, but he's correlating that the real pronunciation or the name is Ominani, but it's Odinani. And this is a tradition among the Igbo people. This is their what we would call, what most are calling African spirituality or African traditional. We're giving you the real or the gist of the name. It is Odinani. We done talked about this plenty of time. Odinani. Odinani, a lot of people refer to the Igbo people like he's referring to the Igbo people as Jews or as Hebrews. And we know that when you study the tradition, the tradition of the Igbo people, it is not Hebrew, it's not Hebrewism or whatever you want to put it on. We know that the tradition is called Odinani. And we done broke down the tradition of Odinani thoroughly and who are the Igbo people, which there are many, many, many ethnic groups when we deal with the Igbo people. They does not consist of one group. It is a multiplicity, if that's a word, of Igbo groups. And a good book, if you can afford it, is a book called, because he said his family is from the Caribbean. And when you study the tradition or you study the Atlantic slave trade, we know that various forms of African tradition was formed in the Caribbean via the Atlantic slave trade, right? So he mentioned the Caribbean. So when you look into Jamaica, they have something called Obeah, right? A tradition called Obeah. So when you study Obeah and you look at the Igbo people of Odinani, you can see the similarities, and you can see that via the Atlantic slave trade, a lot of those people that was in that particular region of Africa, I think it was northeast Nigeria, if I'm mistaken, I could be mistaken, if it's in northeast or north south with one of them, these Igbo people being kidnapped and via the Atlantic slave trade and taken into those islands in the Caribbean, right, where he said his people are from, which they formulated and created something called Obeah. And then the word Obeah, which I'm gonna talk about the word Obeah, which became, when you look at the word Obeah, you get the word Obeah later on, from which also comes from out of the traditions of the Odinani people, where they trace the word Obeah back to the word Obeah, which you can also get a book. Let me see the name of the book, if you can get it, if you can afford it. Now, hold on. The book is called God of Obeah. You have a volume 1 and you have a volume 2. I don't know exactly what the books are hella expensive now. It's a volume 1 and it's a volume 2. Me, Sean, and Ben I have the first. I don't know if Sean has the volume 2. I don't have volume 2. I know Ben has both books. Both of those books. Sean, how much them books are running for now? They weren't expensive when we first got the books, but I think the prices, matter of fact,
700, 800 to 1,000, maybe even 4,000 in some areas, depend.
Right. So we got these books a few years ago before they got expensive. God, and I'll put it up here later on, God is Obeah. And again, when you look at it, most of them are tracing the word Obeah back to Obeah back to the word Obeah, right? But hold on, let me share my screen. Y'all let me know when y'all see my screen.
You good?
All right, hold on. And I'm gonna run through this quick. I'm not gonna go through all of this because I know everybody else got some stuff to say. But this was something I did a few years ago. I might have did this about 3 years ago on the Masi Warrior Clan. Might have been 4 years ago. But this is the tradition of the Igbo people. It's called Odinani, right? This has nothing to do with Hebrewisms or Hebrew at all. Now, we know most people say that the Igbo people, and even you see a lot of the Igbo people that are practicing what form of Hebrewism, so forth. But it right here it says there are several theories. Let me see if I can expand this without. Hold on. All right, there are several theories that concerning the etymology of the word Igbo, wrongly spelled Igbo. The British colonism, 18th century text has the word as Igbo or Igbo, which was thought to be a corruption of the word Hebrew. Igbo is commonly presumed as a means of the people. The root bo is judged by the Sudanic origin, and the scholarly thinks that the word is derived from the verb jibo, therefore a cognition of to protect, to shelter, or to prevent. Hence the notion of to protect people or the community from peace. According to other theories, it may also trace back to Igala, among whom the Onigbo is the word for slave, owning, meaning, or people. So the corruption, I just wanted to throw that out there too, because I put that in there because a lot of what people are resulting, because there are many different pronunciations or different variations of people throughout the centuries with the pronunciation of the word Igbo. Like I'm saying, you may read certain literature, you may see it spelled I-G-B-O, Igbo. Then you may see a variation of the word. You may be reading something from a particular text. You might see it Igbo, I-B-O. Then you may see something further later in the day. You may see something where it's spelled H-E-E-B-O or E-B-O-E, which the Igbo, which had become a corruption of the word Hebrew, right? So let's just go into further. Igbo-speaking people can divide into 5 geographical-based subcultures. Northern Igbo, Southern Igbo, Western Igbo, Eastern Igbo, and Northern East Igbo. Each of these 5 can be further divided into supergroups based on a specific location of name. The Northern or Tensia Igbo are divided into the Nira Awa. I'm not going to go into all that, but these are, you have the Northern Igbo, Southern, Western, Eastern, Northern. There are different Igbos are broken into many different ethnic groups, and you can go back if you want this. I'll send it to you, or I can send you the source where I got this information from as well. But it gives you all of those different ethnic groups that's broke down and where they reside in Nigeria. Right. The Igbo tradition have a traditional belief, which is the sum total of what they believe in, how they live in their lives, and collective behavior and attitude toward life. It is the belief and culture that the Igbos identify or among communities of ethnic groups all over the world. The Igbo, however, consists of both language and the group of who speak in the language. The people work collectively together to preserve the culture and their tradition. Igbo is one of the largest ethnic groups in Nigeria, and they are one of the most religious tribes in Nigeria. Their traditional religion known as Ordinaria, which is another variation. Odinani, Igbo Odinani, compromise the traditional religion practice of the culture belief in the Igbo people, because he kept saying, which it is a way of life for these people. He was resorting to the Odinani and compared it to the way of life of a Hebrew word. I'm not even finna try to pronounce the word that he was talking about. So this was what you could say their way of life, of their tradition. This is the tradition. This was their original tradition, Odinani. Odinani has a monotheistic and pantheistic attribute, having a single God as the source of all things, although the pantheon spirits exist of lesser spirits preventing the Odinani expressly, and we're going to talk about those in a minute, the Alaya. So, when you're dealing with African traditional religion, you have a supreme deity, and then you have a lesser deity. In most of African traditions, that most of the traditions, God or their supreme deity does not have his hands in human affairs. He leave that up to the lesser deities. And we done went over so many varieties of lesser deities in each tradition. There's always a standard. You got the head, then you have the lesser deities who have certain duties that they have to fulfill, and those who help or have their hands in human affairs. I'm not going to keep reading a lot of this, but I'll go down right here where it says Odenani especially serve as an element of Chiniki or Chukwu, the supreme being or the high God. It didn't say Yahweh or whoever the Hebrew God is. This is Chiniki or Chukwu, the supreme being of a high God. Chiniki is a compound word encompassing the concept of Chi, the divine masculine force, and Na Iki, the creative and the dimension feminine force. Not Yahweh. The concept of Chukwu, the supreme Chi, was largely propagated by the Oro Igbo of the Oro Chukwu in eastern Igbo land, who widely much spiritual forces over the eastern Niger Delta, the 18th century, and so forth. And I believe Odenani could loosely be described as a monotheistic or pantheistic faith for the strong central spirit force at a head, which is all things which believe to spring from. However, the contextual diversity of the system may encompass theist perspectives that relies on the different belief or religion. Chukwu is a central deity in classical class among the Nidimumo, invisible beings categorized as the ontology beings, which includes Allah, the divine feminine earth force, Chi, the personal deity. And when you look at a lot of these things, and I'm going to move fast because we got other people that want to speak. But when you look at those lesser deities, right? When you look at those lesser deities, a lot of those lesser deities similar or characteristics as the same as the Orishas. So when you look at let's say Shango is a popular deity. There's the same attributes that Shango have, the same attribute that one of these deities have that's deal with the Igbo people. But I'm not gonna go too far into that. But hence saying Onyi Kiwi Chinki Ya Ikwi, meaning if a person agrees to the things, his spirit agrees also. Culturally, people are seen as the creator and the makers of their own destiny. The breath of life is the heart. Obeah, Chi, refers to the light and the day and the constructs of the dark. The universal Chi, because we're breaking down Chi Inki, right? Which has a masculine and a feminine principle. Contrast in the dark, universal tree, indirect charge, everything to Chukwu, who is the supreme being that is beyond the limit of time and space. Chukwu name is a composed of the word Chi Uku. The great seas, the great in size are supreme. Chi is believed to be the spirit connection between the individual and the high God and is the trajectory of a person's spiritual journey on the earth. Each Chi is personal and is in common with the inseparable form of the universal Chi of all things. The high god Chukwu is believed to be assigned Chi before at the time of the individual birth. It is the guardian spirit providing care, guardianship, and providing in this respect. Now, real quick, we go and I'm oh shoot, let me see if I can go back. Damn, hold on. Because I want to get in Dabe. Because there's a lot of stuff in here that I can cover, but I'm not gonna cover. Damn. Hold on, y'all. Oh man. I'll exit out of here. Hold on. And I'm gonna put an article in the chat forward, and I'm gonna put them books in that chat too for people that may want to get it. But hold on, let me go down. Let me back enlarge this if I can do it. All right. Damn. Hold on. All right. Now, Obeah, right? Obeah it can be identified as a personal chi through divination. Alpha is advised by hertz of ways of placated. Chukwu is also referred to as Chi Inki, which is a compound of the word Chi and divine masculine force, Iki, the created division, feminine force. Iki came out of hands of the Chi, but are considered one. Chi creates the world, while Iki divides it incorporately in division and trickster energy that introduce death and suffering. Chi Inki is also interpreted as Chi Inki. Chi is creatrix or Chi. Inni Iki. Chi is the creative mother. Iki is one ancestral guardian spirit. Chi Inki is, or Chukwu, is highly up away at the prosperity of human life and remains a mystery to the people. Household usually contain a Chi shrine, which concludes by force of trees. Now, we're not going to go into a lot of this because we start getting into the shrines and we start talking about the Anusis. The Nusis or the Elusis are those who we would refer to as the lesser deity. So you have Chi Inki, a Chukwu, who would be the supreme or the head, and then you would have the Elusis, who would be the lesser deities. If you look to their neighboring brethren, the Yoruba people who also resides in Nigeria, you would see their supreme deity, and then you will see the Orishas will be the lesser deity, right? So, but let me go a little bit further because I don't want to get in. I want to kind of focus on Obeah so we can get into Obeah. And these are just some of the shrines and some of the lesser deities that I talked about in here. That's one of the lesser deities. Midoho, Madoho, I'm pronouncing his name wrong, but if you study him, he has some of the same characteristics as Shango. A lot of those do. But hold on, let me go. Let me see if I can find it. There's so much. What? Damn. Let me go back one. What you need, son?
Came on like your phone.
All right, Obeah. Obeah are a mystic meditation between human worlds and the spirit world and acts as a healer, describes teacher, right? So Obeah, who Obeah? Obeah will be a diviner. You could say the Obeah would be a diviner, right? A diviner of an adversary of people who a community. They are usually consulted at a shrine or a community major. Deity. Obeah is a compound of words die, professionally, master, husband. Abba, doctor, or science. Again, Obeah is a compound of word die, which can mean professional, master, or husband. Obeah, doctor, science. Obeah are believed to be destined before spiritual work. The Obeah sees that the spiritual world at the time of interpreter which message being sent and sees that the spiritual world of living people. They are giving the power by the spirit world to identify any elusive by the name and possible way of the placating, negotiating with deities. Obeah are thought to be relieved as a possessor of a power over one or three elements, namely water and a large body of waters, fire and vegetation. Obeah, whose element of vegetations can go and become herbalists by the supposed intentional knowledge of health benefits in certain plants that are instinctively drawn to the fire of element. Obeah can handle fire and scaly during their initiation, and water elements Obeah do not drown. Obeahs can particularly enter the spirit world and communicate this by rubbing chalk on half of their face. And if you look on the Obeah book, the Gods of Obeah book, the volume 1, you can see Obeah with half of his face in chalk. Obeah or Obeah practice was transported to the British Caribbean during the slave trade and became known as Obeah. So he is correct when he says that he is from the Caribbean, and they have a tradition in the Caribbean called the Obeah, right? And it was this practice or this form of this practice of Obeah, this Obeah who became a master at certain things, and can interpret certain things and get these types of results. These Obeahs or this practice of Obeah practice was transported, like I said, into British Caribbean during the slave trade and was known as Obeah. Now, the name of the divination is Igbo, derived from the Igaga, Afa, or Aha. Now, with with Yoruba, you will see the word Ifa. You will also see the word Afa in the Vudan, in the Togo, in the Bedin tradition, when they particularly talking about divination or divining, and so forth, right? These different practices, meaning to the name coming from the diviner skills and rooted out of problem, hence the name then. The word Dibia and Obeah or Alpha, interpreted as Alpha, is considered a master extoric knowledge and wisdom of the Iga. Alpha is way in which people can be found and cause of such things misfortunate. The diviner interpreted codes with Allah Muno are unseen by throwing divination seeds, quarries, or bees. And anybody that studies divination, you know that they have certain things that they use in order to facilitate their divination things. You know, like with the what's the name? You have quarry shells, the opan ephah is the tray. You know, they have the tapper that also tap the tray and so forth. When you look at it from a from the Europe perspective in their divination, but throughout Africa, one of the elements in majority of African tradition, they have their own way of divination and how they divine. So they have their own way in how they utilize certain things, right? So throwing the divination seeds, quarries, and bees are observed through the divination broad, sometimes called Osha, which can be used to pronounce a curse or ill. I'm gonna stop right there. And I'll come back. I'm just going to succeed right there because we got other people on the panel that want to speak. But I wanted to kind of set the tone and establish that the hold on, let me start sharing my screen. That the Igbo people, they are practicing a form of Hebrewism or calling themselves Hebrew Israelites. You do see that now in that area and other areas of those ethnic groups, those Igbo people, which again, there were tons of different branches of Igbo people, but then I might touch back on that a little bit later on. But their tradition was called Odinani. Their supreme deity was called Chukwu Achi Inki, which has a masculine and feminine principle. Not Yahweh. There also have lesser deities, the Elusives, which I didn't go into, which we understand those hierarchies when we look at the hierarchy from an African tradition. But I also wanted to establish the Dibia. What is the Dibia, or what is the practice of Dibia? Who will be considered a Dibia, and what does Dibia actually look like, and actually what does the word mean when you break it down? And it did, we can talk a little bit further, it did go into Africa, and we can talk a little bit later if y'all want to. We can talk about Obeah and what it represents over there in Jamaica and those islands now. But it has nothing to do with Hebrewism, Hebrew Israelites. Let me start, damn, I'm still sharing my screen. Let me start sharing my screen. All right, I'm done staring my screen, man. Am I still on?
Yeah, you
Okay.
still. Sutek.
Man, I ain't got much, man. I'm confused on how he linked these two terms together. Like, I still don't understand how he did that. That was like some type of New York, Brooklyn Hebrew magic. I don't know what that was.
I think he's getting it from, I could be mistaken, he could be getting it, and no disrespect to the elder. Well, he's not an elder no more, he's an ancestor anymore. He mentioned a book, and I think he was reading from, and he mentioned a few books from this elder, what is his name? Moses Farad. And he mentioned the book, what was one of the books, because he's author of a few books. Damn, I ain't got the book pulled up now, man. I ain't got the book pulled up, but it was one of the books that I think he was.
It's called, the book is called The Hebrew Heritage of Black Africa.
Mm-hmm. Right. And I believe that This is my belief. I believe that the elder had his bias in some form, because when you're doing research, and this was we just did this on the fly. We just did this on the fly. So we wasn't able to get all the stuff that we wanted, which I wanted to get, try to get out, and some stuff that I wanted to try to put together and kind of break down. But going back and doing the research, it's not a lot of information on the author of those several books that he had. This elder, and this elder, he was also a Muslim, not a Muslim, but he was also a Hebrew Israelite as well. So it's not a lot, but I was trying to go dig out this author, this high esteemed author that he kept referring to his books. And I'm saying no,
he ain't high esteemed either.
Mm-hmm. Well, I mean, I'm just saying what you said. So I was just trying to do some research to try to figure out who this is and establish, does he have a bias? And then I wanted to establish, was he a Hebrew Israelite, which I was able to establish that. I don't have any of his works to look at, even just to look at some of his sources and see where he got some of his sources, because I wanted to try to critique or comb through some of those sources and see what's up with some of those sources, and even just look at some of the sources. And even if I can just look at some of the sources, I can be able to tell if he has a bias right there, just looking at. Sometimes you can look at the source and say, okay, well, shit, he has a bias. He doesn't have another side. It's not another side. He's going with a bias. He's looking for everything that can cooperate with what he's practicing.
Yeah, but I feel like Zion should have done that. Mm-hmm. We didn't see him pull out the source and read directly. I don't think, unless I missed it, or we didn't see him go and vet this author's actual sources. Like, we ain't see none of that. You on here asking people to donate to you, and you talking to us. Like, I don't know. I'm confused. He said Ashanti. That's Akan. That's the Akan language. It's also an Efik model from the Efik language group, mostly in Nigeria, Cameroon. He didn't mention the Igbo model. He just went to Ashanti. Like, he skipped a lot of steps. Like, where's your how did you come to your conclusion? Like, if he's just using this book, then yeah, that would be appealing to authority, because you didn't check. Mm-hmm. We didn't see we didn't see no linguistic methods. I didn't see him say nothing about no cognates, root words. We barely got definitions. So I just feel like it's crazy what he's doing. And at a certain point, you start feeling like certain people are disingenuous. That's how I gotta say. We can play it over though, unless somebody got something else.
Yeah, he said it was groundbreaking
groundbreaking research he did, and he pulled out somebody else's work.
Mm-hmm. And then he didn't vet the source. And even I'll say this, and I won't be quiet, but I'll say this: even with people, we don't do that. Even with this elder has several publications, and again, no slight to the elder at all. And he's a Hebrew, right? Zion Lexx is a Hebrew, right? So, and I'm saying, and with us, they know over here we rock with Africa all day. We rock with West Africa all day. We talk about West Africa. We bring all type of information about different ethnic groups in Africa, the customs, the cultures. You know what I'm saying? So even when we vet the information that we got, whether it's a European scholar or whether it's an African scholar, we do the steps. We follow the model. We follow the method, so we don't get caught up on color, whether they black or white, or whether they believe what we believe in, whether they are practitioner of this certain practice that we practice. You still, at the end of the day, you still have to go through those steps. You have to go through those methods. And we talk about the method. You know what I'm saying? Research methodology. And we don't even talk about what is methodology, how methodology look, how you go about doing methodology. So, you know, so many different times on several occasions. So we don't get caught up in just because this is an African scholar and we are diehard African out. We still have to follow the steps. We can't skip no steps. We still have to follow the steps, regardless if we like, you know, this person because he's a diehard African, he's a diehard, you know what I'm saying, scholar that actually is his field is in Africanic studies, you know what I'm saying? He studies Africans. We still have to follow those steps. And I think he should have did the same thing. I think, you know what I'm saying, you know, I think he might have got caught up because the elder has several publications. And just because you have several publications, we got, you know, a lot of publications out too. It still doesn't make you the authority over something because you have, a book out. And just because you writing about a said subject, you still again have to follow those steps. Regardless if us with our books that we have out, we encourage you to follow that method and go through those steps. You know what I'm saying, and scrutinize, scrutinize our work and see how we come up with some of our conclusions that we come up with. You know what I'm saying, or while we talking about said subjects, and feeling confident about talking about said subject. So, but I think he just skipped those steps of going through, those steps with that elder.
So in the Khan cultures, is there any Obeah or any derivative of this word that he trying to use?
I think I'm not sure. I can't remember, but like I said, because it done been so long. Like I said, me dealing with this was maybe 3 or 4 years ago. You can go back on the Masi channel, and you can see how long the video was since I put the video. It might have been 3 or 4 years ago, but I'm thinking so with the Akan people. I'm not sure because I think me and Ben was talking about this because Ben was on the panel, or we talked about this after the presentation was over with, after I did it, whatever. But I think so. I think so.
All right. I'm gonna play the video again, and then I'm gonna run through a little bit of my info. And I just want to take people. I wanted to make sure that we all got our spiel out, and then we come back to Kofi, and we're gonna get him to add on some additional information. But I want people to kind of see this thing the way from everybody's perspective and how we all visualize it. And we all saw this, and then we all pursued this in a different manner according to our research. So I want you to focus on a few things here in his video. I want you to focus on his intention. There's no his research question. Well, there's really no research question, but he goes into his claim immediately. What I really want y'all to grasp from this and is the ability to be able to extract his claim. What is Zion Lexx's initial claim, and then the source to back his claim? So there's two things that we're looking for. One, we need to extract his claim. Two, what is his source? What source did he actually use to support the claim? So here we go.
Creator in the Hebrew language. Open up the book of Isaiah chapter 42 verse 5 and you encounter this word right there, Boré. I'm not done. Let's keep going. I got some bombs for y'all tonight, all right? So make sure you guys are supporting the platform because I definitely went out on a limb and did some groundbreaking research for tonight. So make sure you guys support the platform. Show your love, guys. Obeah in West Africa and its Hebrew origins. Among West African peoples, namely the Ashanti and even the Yoruba, there's a term known as Obayifo. Obayifo.
All right. So initially, he puts it on the screen, Obeah in West Africa. The linguistic relationship between the Ashanti term Obeah in West Africa and Obeah among the Hebrews in the Bible and the Torah. All right. So what we want to do is we want to deal with his first initial assertion of Obaifo. So Obaifo is a vampire, witch-like mythological creature from West Africa, coming from the folklore of the Ashanti. In Ashanti folklore, Obaifo are very common and may inhabit the bodies of any man or woman. See, they are described as having shifty eyes and being obsessed with food. When traveling at night, they are said to emit phosphorescent light from their armpits and anus. The Obayifo is known as a similar entity to an Asiman by the Dahomey people, a creature that can be shapeshift and fly, turning itself into a ball of light and hunting for prey in the night sky. So when he uses the term Obayifo, he is speaking of a fictional, mythological, vampire slash witch-like creature from West African folklore. So we establish it. But we go further. I told y'all Wiki would defeat him. In Ashanti, Twi, right? Twi, the word used to describe witchcraft is Bayi. Despite this, the etymology of Bayi is still uncertain. Another possible variation is Oba, meaning child, and Yi, meaning to remove. To remove a child in the case of highlights a close association of infant mortality and fertility to the likes of witchcraft. Alternatively, can y'all see? Okay.
Yeah, I don't know what the hell Chavis thing keeps.
Man, right. Threw me all the way. I was seeing the screen. I'm like, whoa, what is that? Now, where was I at? Alternatively. Anyway, let me just stop and just say this. People, typically women who practice Bayi, turn into Obayifo. Women, listen to me. Typically, women who practice Bayi turn into Obayifo. Although Obayifo is used to describe both men and women who practice Bayi and turn into the monster, a distinction can be drawn between the men and women who practice Bayi as Obayensem, meaning wizard, was a term used for the males exclusively as Obayifo, was sometimes only used for women exclusively. All right. So this is mythological. This is fictional. All right. So that's one down. Now let's continue. My bad. Let's continue.
So let's establish this has nothing to do with Obeah.
No.
All right.
So Obayifo has nothing to do with Obeah, and we'll come back to that in just a moment.
Yeah,
So
that's
there's
one strike.
yes, that's strike number one in the first minute of whatever 50 some seconds of his build at this point.
which represents a practice known as Obeah. The linguistic relationship between the Ashanti term Obayifo in West Africa and Obeah among the Hebrews in the Bible. In the book of First Chronicles, chapter 28, verse 7, King Saul is said to have visited an Obeah woman. And watch this. I'm going to pull this up so y'all guys can see this live. I'm not even going to play with this. First Chronicles, all right, 28 and 7. We're not playing today, y'all. I'm going to give you guys everything. Not holding back. I'm going to give y'all everything. So make sure you guys support the platform and show you love. First Chronicles 28. Excuse me. First Samuel. Excuse me. First Samuel 28. My apologies, y'all. First Samuel 28. Okay. 1 Samuel chapter 28, and we're going to scroll all the way down. King Saul is fighting a battle. King Saul is fighting a battle against the Philistines.
I want him to talk.
The Philistines are giving King Saul all kinds of hell. The prophet Samuel dies. So King Saul no longer has anybody to go and consult. He doesn't know how this war will fare. And he's afraid as hell because he doesn't know what's going to be the outcome. So watch what he does. At that time, the Philistines mustered their forces to war to take the field against Israel. Achish said to David, you know, of course, that you and your men must march out with forces. David answered, you surely know what your servant will do. In that case, Achish replied to David, I will appoint you a bodyguard for life. Now Samuel had died, and all Israel made lament for him, and he was buried in his town of Ramah. And Saul had forbidden ghosts and familiar spirits in the land. The Philistines mustered, and they marched to Shunem and encamped. And Saul gathered all Israel, and they camped at Gilboa. When Saul saw the Philistine force, his heart trembled with fear. And Saul inquired of the Lord, but the Lord did not answer him, either by dreams or by Urim or by the prophets. God turned his back on King Saul. So King Saul is fearful of the advancing Philistine army, who is growing ever stronger. Rather than humble himself and go and ask David to help, he goes and inquires of someone else. Look at what King Saul does. Then King Saul sent his courtiers, and he says, find me a woman who consults ghosts so that I can go to her and inquire through her. That word in Hebrew, guys, is Eshet Ba'alat Ov. And I'm going to highlight it. Eshet Ba'alat Ov, or Obeah woman. I hope y'all.
Shet Balalat Ov.
Boy better watch his mouth.
Yeah. The search finds no definition found for what he's talking about. He would have to probably narrow it down to probably get a search. I don't know what he's using. I mean, one of y'all can pull this up, Safaria, and pull up Samuel 1 verse 28 and see.
I got the blue letter.
Oh, I think he used that. You can pull it up.
They use that a lot. Blue letter.
Pull it up and see if you can get a search out of that to support to say that that's what that word means. While I take us to the second portion that he's using, my bad, which is Samuel 1, right? And it says, and it came to pass in the days that the Philistines gathered their hosts together for warfare to fight with Israel. And Achish said unto David, know thou assuredly that thou shalt go out with me in the host, thou and thy men. And David said to Achish, therefore you shalt know what thy servant will do. And Achish said to David, therefore will I make thee keeper of my head forever. Now Samuel was dead, and all of Israel had laminated him and buried him in the Ramah, even in his own city. And Saul had put away those that divined by a ghost or a familiar spirit out of the land. And the Philistines gathered themselves together and came in and pitched in Shunem. And Saul gathered all Israel together, and they pitched in Gilboa. And when Saul saw the host of Philistine, he was afraid, and said his heart trembled greatly. And when Saul inquired of the Lord answered him not, neither by dreams, nor by Urim, nor by prophets. Then Saul said unto his servants, seek me a woman that divineth by a ghost, that I may go to her and inquire of her. And his servants said to him, behold, There is a woman that divineth by a ghost at Endor. And Saul disguised himself, put on another remnant, and went, and he and 2 men with him. And they came to the woman by night. And he said, Divine unto me, I pray thee, by a ghost, and I bring me up whomsoever I shall name unto thee. And the woman said unto him, Behold, thou knowest what Saul hath done, how he hath cut off those that divine by a ghost or familiar spirit out of the land. Whom shall I bring up until thee? And he said, Bring me up Samuel. And then the woman saw Samuel. She cried out loud a voice, and the woman spoke to Saul, saying, Why hast thou deceived me? For thou art Saul. And the king said unto her, Be not afraid of what seest thou. And the woman said unto Saul, I see a godlike being coming up out of the earth. He said unto her, What form is he of? And she said, An old man cometh up, and he is covered with a robe. And Saul perceived that it was Samuel, and he bowed with his face to the ground and prostrated himself. And Samuel said to Saul, Why hast thou disquieted me to bring me up? And Saul answered, I am sore distressed, for the Philistine make war against me. So you get where he's trying to go with this story, because he's trying to relate what a word means to them. However, if you go look at the etymology of the word Obeah, it deals with sorcery, witchcraft among Africans in Africa and the West Indies. The origins of the word.
Go ahead and finish up.
The origins of the word 1760 from a West African word such as Efek, which is southern Nigeria, Obeah, a thing of mixture left as charm to cause sickness or death, Twi, Ibayifo, witch, wizard, sorcerer, right? We all know what Ibayifo is referring to. We cleared that up. So here is the assertion of the Obeah Ibayifo. Now, when we go further and we extract from slave resistance, a Caribbean study, and we look at religion and resistance, we see Obeah in the New World. Not going to give you all of this, but this is something that we can pretty much sum up and say some African traditions left the shore, took on a new form, recreated itself in a tradition that has been practiced in a particular place. Now, I'm gonna go a step further than that. Where my PDF? All right, so here we go. On the screen, ladies and gentlemen. Am I on my page 28? Yes, I am. So it says, I'm starting right here. I'm gonna zoom in so people can see. And I'm gonna scroll up. If you want to look above me, you can. Obeah can be used by Negroes to bewitch on one another, and how one Obeah, which Negro can cure another, is believed here. So we know what we're dealing with when they're talking about this word. All right. Look, Taki's Rebellion, Jamaica, Britain's 1760 Act, criminalizing Obeah practices. All of that is here. All of this is here, and it's in the description of the video for those of you who want to read it. Get your free 83-page article right there on behalf of Kofi Pasi research team. Now, it says, even this early usage suggests that Obeah's ambiguity, both to bewitch and cure, and analogous in the army officers' mind to English or other European folk magic traditions, as later records of British legal, lay, and scholarly definitions show. Obeah was and continues to be generally represented by its harmful and antisocial side, with curative, uplifting dimensions being largely, if not completely, sidelined or erased. In practice, Handler and Bilby, as well as others, have characterized Obeah as essentially neutral, source of power in general, providing means towards socially beneficial in such a healing, protection, and communal cohesion. However, in the context of colonial slavery, something socially beneficial to enslaved communities say collectively resisting torture could be considered aggressively antisocial and harmful by the enslaver. Obeah, with its association or actual use within slavery resistant movements and struggles, surely was a very well destructive element in the slaver's mind, and equally likely was also used by enslaved people to gain people over others that were also enslaved. So identifying Obeah's practice as neutral is misleading. This article is talking about the practice and they're really telling you what this practice is or what they're calling it: sorcery or witchcraft. Social scientific literature are a part of Obeah, just as socially harmonious, curative, or protective practices. So now we have this subjective perspective of Obeah meaning something and then going to find it in a Bible to justify the means and then say its origin is related to that. That is not the case of Obeah, in the sense that although this traditional practice of some sort with its roots from Africa, right? So when you say that this is Hebrew and the Bible was written in X, Y, and Z and all of that, it could, all right, once you've established the fact that the Bible is from outside of the continent, then that takes away whatever the mention of the Obeah and the book and the good book has to do with one another. It doesn't have origins that would trace it back to that in its early conception and development. As far as the Akan and the Tweed, we dealt with the etymology. As far as how the traditions get here, we understand that. Like I said, you have to go and deal with certain origins of things, and you have to deal with the Akan origin hypothesis, the Igbo origin hypothesis, and the effect hypothesis, and you will eliminate immediately based on these hypotheses and the history of Obeah. You would dismiss that. However, let him continue. Well, no, I'm not going to let him continue. I'm going to let Sute go ahead and do his thing because he's going to bring up the blue letter.
Oh yeah, so I was just curious on like how he said what he said. He said this whole phrase to this whole a woman that has a familiar spirit. He said all that in Hebrew and then said in other words and obey a woman. Like where do you get that from?
All
These
right,
are
so
three different phrases.
Stay right there. What I'm trying to do here is see if what you have is significant to what he showed. And to be honest with you, what he's highlighting and what you're showing doesn't equate to the same diacritic marks on what he's highlighted or that's in that first passage that would mean either or.
Oh, so he got something different.
Well, what you have on the screen right there in the blue letter and what he has highlighted, I don't see the match for that. Now, I'm not saying, because when we go back and read it, the story says Samuel 1 says what it says, but this is his source. So in order for us to substantiate what is taking place here, we don't know who Samuel is talking to and where Samuel is in this period. So we would have to do a history lesson on Samuel, right? One that I did not, and I'm telling y'all that I did not do. Now, I already had him in two areas: how he started and the origins of Obeah. But when he brings the Bible in it as a qualifier, we would then have to go look at the passage and deal with, all right, when was Samuel written? So I'm asking the question on a live show because y'all know I don't like going in the Bible. Does anyone know when Samuel was written? There's got to be a time period for Samuel's existence, which means when did Israel and when did Palestine go to war? That's going to answer a time period for us and it's going to show us where they went to war, because this isn't going to have anything to do with Africans.
You wish you could break it.
I'm trying to figure out. I'm trying to connect this because I'm lost, man. I don't understand what he's saying. He said Obeah is in. I don't get it. Is it a word?
Well, he's
Okay.
talking about an Obeah woman. He's talking. He keep mentioning the word Obeah.
Yeah, he's but he's
And that's a general term,
be
right?
I'm about to say because a woman right there, huh? That don't say Obeah.
We have to be honest, Kofi. We have to be honest. What he is doing is he is infusing Obeah in there as a reference to mean diviner,
Right,
sorcerer, or witch.
right.
Because that word means that, he's asserting that word right there, regardless of what that word in Hebrew is trying to define.
So that would mean
He's
you're
doing
saying
equivalent.
that Hebrews brought divination or magic, for lack of a better term, to West
But
Africa.
wait a minute, they can't do that.
Well, hold on,
in the
Chavis.
Bible,
Hold
it
on,
say
hold
they
on,
can't
hold on.
do that.
Hold on. What? Listen. All right. So this is. I'm telling y'all the steps to do this. All right. It's 8 minutes, but the steps to do this, you have to be specific. What he is doing is he took the equivalent of one word and its meaning in one tradition, and he's infusing it where he see fit in the Bible. I'm telling you, the time period. Hold on, the time period that Israel and Palestine go to war ain't got nothing to do with 1710 creation of Obeah.
Hell no, it don't. This is confusing, man.
Right, yeah, but I see what I'm trying to see, and that's what I'm trying to. Everybody's saying they lost. I only looked at the video right before we got ready to go on, right? So I hurry up and I'm trying to hurry up. I didn't even know y'all was live, but he, like I'm saying, he keep mentioning the word obey. You got the word. What was the word? Obeah.
That's
Okay,
a myth. That's a folklore. That's folklore.
Right.
He out of here. He out of here with that.
Okay.
You know what I say? What they got to do with the Bible verse?
Right, but okay. Now going back to what he said, he keeps saying Obeah woman. So Obeah woman says one who practices, which could be, but we using their terms. We using the outsider's term. One who practices this kind of sorcery, witchcraft, folk medicine. Now, when you go back, that's what I wanted to talk about. Obeah or Obeah within the Odinani culture. And when you talk about Obeah, or even when you describe it, Obeah, and even when you describe an Obeah, and the elements behind that, it's basically the same thing. It became Obeah, or became Obeah once it got into the Caribbean. Now going back to Obeah is a practice of one who is a diviner. And one who divines, it comes with so many different things. That's why you got the British is saying all these things that it is sorcery. It is witchcraft, because one who is
that's who's speaking, Kofi.
Mm-hmm.
That's who's that's who is defining what these words mean. It's not anyone from Israel or Palestine.
Right.
It is someone in Britain that is that's correlating or trying to find an English an English equivalent for the word at this period. So there's two different periods going on now. We're talking about the 18th century, somewhere around there, 18th, 19th century, right? This is what we're dealing with, 18th, 19th century. And then we're talking about a Palestine and Israel conflict that's been going on for thousands of years. However, he gonna date all of that back to almost 3,000, 4,000 years ago, right? Is when he's trying to date some Palestine and Israel type beef that transpired in that little history. And he's trying to say whenever the Bible was written, you got to speed that up, because remember, it ain't 4,000 or 3,000 years ago when Palestine and Israel or whatever the hell, because Israel wasn't in existence at that time. So now you got to jump up 2,000 years and you got to go deal with literally 2,000 years ago and say, okay, Israel and Palestine is still in conflict. Duh, they've been in conflict since everything was going on right there in that region. They ain't stopped banging on each other. So I want to go ahead and I want to insert something to y'all. Are y'all aware that our Arabians were doing some sort of divination?
Yeah, I read it in I think I read that in a SAR book when he dealt with that.
Yes.
Okay. So
Islam.
listen to what I'm saying. I'm trying to help it unconfuse everybody.
I don't have no credit
The diviner, the narrative that he's trying to push is going to come from the ways of Arabia.
Okay, I get that, but I'm trying to figure out. Like he said, linguistic. You just did like some historical shit.
No. You have to. You got to ignore it. See, you went for the fluff.
Oh, okay. He got me.
You can't deal with. You see what I'm saying? When we're looking at this stuff, we gotta take the claim and the source used to support the claim. The rest of the shit is fluff.
Yeah, because I'm lost. I'm trying to do some linguistic comparisons here. I'm looking up where it's at,
bro. You're not going to be able to do those things because he's using a multitude of confusion.
Well, he can't say he got linguistic proof on the video though. He can't just say that at the top in the captions. Linguistic proof, and I'm looking for the linguistic proof, and I ain't seen none.
But no, he didn't show us anything. So what I'm trying to tell you is I
get what you're saying.
So let's remove the fluff. Let's remove the fluff. Let's stick to now. We dealt with Obeah. We got the origins of Obeah. We know that Obeah is a mythical folklore, right? So we know that shit ain't real, right? We can get that out of here. So now when he uses it to compare the Bible, he is still wrong because he's trying to use some Arabic persuasions and basically say they're African in persuasion, and they brought this to West Africa, and that's how it got to the New World. It don't even link like that, because you know why? By the time Arabs come into West Africa, what the hell are they practicing? What are they practicing? Islam. Exactly. So why would an Arab diviner come into Africa and be practicing something that's non-Islamic, and his head gonna get cut off?
But you get that part of the Arabs practicing divination and other forms of African culture through syncretism. When you see a lot of those groups begin to convert for whatever reasons to Islam and start to practice Islam.
Yeah, but we don't see divining. We don't see Arabs coming in and divining.
Right? You're right. You don't see that. You don't see that. But I'm saying you do see that form once you get those groups of people in Africa begin to convert, and then they begin to synchronize Islam and some of their original African traditions into Islam, because I can show you a bunch of similarities, but you see this after the Arab come in and they begin to convert, where they begin to synchronize, where you start to see similarities of African traditions with Arab traditions.
Yeah. So the way that all right, so it's really easy to do what we're doing. So my step was okay, what is his claim? That was my first question answered, was his claim. We heard his claim loud and clear. Now, what is his source for that claim? Because remember, this is an 8-minute video about Obeah, right? It's about Obeah and Obeah being Hebrew. In its origin.
He didn't get no citation, no references.
Yes,
he did reference. He referenced the Elder book. He referenced.
No. He didn't.
Hebrew West African.
For
Oh,
the claim, Kofi. For the claim.
he pulling out of 1 Samuel, huh?
No, that's what I'm trying to tell y'all. So we're overthinking it. The claim, we've got the claim. The source for the all right, hold on. No, y'all laughing. Look, listen to it again. Hold on, I'm gonna steal the screen from you because I need y'all to understand. And this is for like all of us, right? This is for all of us. This is the work that some people just won't do. They want to skip steps, and we can't skip steps. So we have to deal directly with what we got to identify his claim and his source for the claim. Watch him work.
Breaking research for tonight. So make sure you guys support the platform. Show your love, guys. In West Africa and its Hebrew origins. Among West African peoples, namely the Ashanti and even the Yoruba, there's a term known as Obayifo, which represents a practice known as Obeah. The linguistic relationship between the Ashanti term Obayifo in West Africa and Obeah among the Hebrews in the Bible. In the book of 1 Chronicles, chapter 28, verse 7, King Saul is said to have visited an Obeah woman. And watch this. I'm going to pull this up so y'all guys can see this live. I'm not even going to play with this. 1 Chronicles, all right, 28 and 7. We're not playing today, y'all. I'm going to give you guys everything. Not holding back. I'm going to give y'all everything. So make sure you guys support the platform and show your love. 1 Chronicles 28. Excuse me. 1 Samuel. Excuse me. 1 Samuel 28. My apologies, guys.
All right. So
1 Samuel 28.
So that's the assertion. He puts it on the screen, ladies and gentlemen. We ain't got to go further than the screen. He says it, and it's on the screen. Obeah in West Africa, and he's got his logo in front of it, and it's Hebrew origins. That is the claim. Obeah in West Africa, and its Hebrew origins. He made the mistake to add the linguistic relationship between the Ashanti term Obayifo in West Africa and Obeah among the Hebrews in the Bible / Torah. Now, his mistake was inserting Obayifo and not having an understanding of what that word actually meant, because that don't mean what he thinks that it means in Hebrew. So he tried to find an equivalent for the word Obayifo. Not Obeah, Obayifo. But he's saying that Obeah is going to be like the new world word for Obayifo. You see what I'm saying? Are y'all following me here?
I mean, yeah, but this is some
No.
You got a lot of trickery going on right now.
That's okay. That's okay. We have to point that out. He's in West Africa now. He's in no man's land with a book and a belief that none of these people around him know of until it is introduced to them. Therefore, if this word was over there, my guy, why is it not showing up until a certain time period? So when he does this, he goes to Samuel 1, verse 28. But on the screen, he has, for the people in the back, on the screen he has, and when Saul saw the host of Philistine, he was afraid of, let me make sure I'm correct. Then Saul said to his coach, I got to find that. Then Saul says unto his servants.
What verse is that?
7, right here. Here's 7, the whole 7. Then said Saul unto his servants, Seek me a woman that divineth by a ghost, that I may go to her and inquire of her. And his servant said to him, Behold, there's a woman that divineth by a ghost at Endor. So what the hell is Endor at? Endor, ladies and gentlemen, people of the rear, Endor is a village, was a Canaanite city, which is listed in the book of Joshua as one of the cities the Israelites didn't manage to dispose, neither the city nor its dependencies. It was located between the hill of Moreh and Mount Tabor in the Jezreel Valley. It is mentioned twice more in the Hebrew Bible. Look where it's listed at: Samuel 1 and Psalms 83. So it's only in two places. All right. So where the hell is this at? Look, mountains of what is that? Nepal? Let's get us a map. I ain't gonna get it. Oh man, come on, man. All right. This ain't a good map. Shouldn't have went to eBay. My bad. So y'all gonna leave me out here looking this shit up myself?
Man, I'm looking up this word still. I'm still stuck on. He still got me in the linguistic trickery because I'm just staring at.
You fail. You going to
You got me. I'm just saying, but if you're gonna make to put the linguistic proof, I'm looking at linguistics, and that you already said it don't match. One says familiar spirit, and then the other one is talking about something that's not about nothing to do with familiar spirits. So I don't. That was a whole 9 minutes wasted of my time. You know what I'm saying? Or 8 minutes. That's crazy.
What am I looking for? Where's that mountain at? What's the name of that place I'm looking for again?
Indoor?
Indoor. Yeah. I'm looking for Indoor. Let me see, Wiki. Galileo. What they saying in the chat?
Line Zion. We got you again, line. Got you line again.
Okay, so the location of ancient site of Endor is widely. Okay, so here's the problem. The location of ancient site of Endor is widely debated, and many locations have been suggested. From the biblical accounts, an Endor that is located on the south edge of Jezreel Valley seems to fit best. The tribal allotments of Manasseh, Saul's journey to Endor, and the defeat of Sisera's army all fit well with this location on the side of the valley, somewhere between Iblim and Tanash. So they're trying to say this fits. So can we find this on the map? I just got blind as hell. All right, so somewhere on this map that they supposed to provide an image of, or somewhere around Endor or Jezreel Valley. And I wish they would have highlighted it because it would have been better. But look where this is at. This ain't in Africa. This ain't no damn Africans. All right, man, I'm done goose chasing. Go ahead, Kofi. What you hit us with the? Well, hold on. I got one more. I got one more point. I actually got two, but one of them is I put an article in there that's called "Conjure Magic and Power: The Influence of Afro-Atlantic Religious Practices on Slave Resistance and Rebellion," written by Walter Rucker. That's going to give you some information regarding the use of the practices and not the origins of. But it's a good article for people to read and gain some understanding. And it's going to tell you that these people were from Africa and that this is rooted in Africa. So the moment that we get to Endor or Jezebel Valley or whatever the hell they want to change the argument up to, we ain't going to find what we're looking for. This place somewhere around Syria or that they're talking about, it's over there somewhere. Like, we really not gonna get to all of that Jordan and Syria and all of that. Like, we're not gonna find that what we're looking for when they already telling us in the article that there's problems with the history of the location, and it's got to be somewhere near mountains, okay? Because that's what they're saying. This is near mountain area. So you have to deal with that specifics. And one more thing to add about this valley. I'm trying to give people if you go look at that wiki article, their history is saying 4500 BCE, 3300 BCE. Come on, man. And then they bring it forward to 11th and 13th centuries. So around between the 11th and 13th centuries, they're talking about CE. They're talking about stuff. So this is a period of confusion here, and this is them infusing things again. And I don't think they want to be these Hebrews, because them jokers is some European looking Hebrews. But I gave enough sources in there to support where we're going from. And actually, Zion, how you came to that conclusion was faulty. You didn't use proper research methodology. You had a lot of flaws. You had no linguistic homework that was shown. Your source was the Bible. And biblical scholars, are debating the whereabouts of this location of this potential war. It could possibly be over here in this area in the Giselle Valley. Like, there's no consensus on that, which means there's no archaeological digs that would support the biblical narrative at that point, or they would have went and dug up and found bodies and bones. So Endor is Giselle Valley.
I want to know when do we see this cultural exchange? When do these Hebrews come to exchange this part of their culture with the Akan? Cause he had to bring all that. You ain't bring nothing linguistic, so I mean, I don't see any
Nothing.
base at all for this claim, bro. It's like he just
Well,
freestyling.
Yeah. Ain't no, cause no, he ain't do no sound course, bringing this show us. No, he don't even show that the language is even related, or like, is they really not even really related. They distantly related. So that's a whole problem right there. So,
That's my cousin.
That's why I said I didn't get the linguistic argument. Like, apparently he don't have one. I didn't see the methods.
he suckered us with the caption. That's what that was. He got me. That's what I sure was looking for. We never got it.
He showed a screenshot and asked for donations. Like, that's crazy.
He giving y'all everything. He giving y'all everything right now. People pay for that, man.
Top notch research.
Y'all need to get y'all money back. Get your money back, man.
I'm tired.
Zion that made his head hurt.
I ain't got nothing else to say, man. I ain't got nothing else to say.
So look, in order for us to conclude and come to a proper conclusion on this, we already knew what we were dealing with beforehand. The problem is there's no linguistic support for his claim. Secondly, the locations of the said Bible, which is his source, sends us on the goose chase. It's not the claim that sends us on a goose chase. It's his source that sends us on a goose chase because it's not supportive of the cultural exchange as Sutek just mentioned. And there's no linguistic comparison as T'Challa and Chavis had pointed out. And there's no real proof or evidence, which Kofi has shown that reminiscence of what it actually is in African traditions and culture along the coast. So that tradition isn't there, but the tradition shows up in the New World. So now, if you're trying to make the Hebrew origins of the word, right, and you're trying to say the Hebrews was in the area, Kofi, could you please bring us back to the fact of what do they practice? What is it that they do? Are they sacrificing animals? Are they doing certain type of rituals that you don't see or extract from the Bible? That's what I want to know.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of the traditions that they do is not a form in the Bible. I mean, when you look at, like I'm saying, with the Older 90, I mean, you got one thing, like I said, you got a supreme deity, Chukwu or Chi Inki, and the lesser deities, the little Lucy. They do animal sacrifice. They do ancestor veneration. They do venerating different. If you study the art, you look at the art. They do certain things with the art, as far as the deity being possessed by these different artworks or different shrines. That's a whole other thing when you talk about the shrines. We know that Hebrews don't deal with that. That's idolatry, ain't they? To work, in which they're not worshiping, but but they don't do any form of what the Igbo people do when it comes to their shrines and these different deities possessing these different shrines and so forth. So there's just a lot of things, man, that we can talk about, man, that is not that the Hebrew Israelites does not practice. These are things that they do not practice at all. And like I'm saying, he mentioned Obeah, but you didn't mention the Igbo, and then you mentioned Old 90 one time, but you didn't go into the practice of Old 90 and what Old 90 looks like.
He don't know that.
Huh? What'd you say?
He don't know that, man.
Right. And then you talking about, and I kind of see what he was trying to do, but it kind of failed. I see what he was trying to do. Like he failed. He kind of failed. Now it's no disrespect to him, and I'm saying that because I don't, I know. I don't. I'm saying I ain't gonna say I know. I just know from the past what type of person he is. Like we take critique all the time, and we don't come back and insult anybody intelligence, or we don't talk crazy about folks and their family and go on a whole rant because someone disagree. We just disagree with what you saying, and we trying to bring out certain things why we disagree with it. We're not talking. We actually trying to show and give sources. Like I'm gonna put my sources in here too afterwards. I'm gonna go back and put them in put the book in there. God's Bill Volume 1. I'm gonna put 2 articles that I use. Put some other sources that I use that I put together from other books from when I did my presentation. I even throw my presentation in there if you want. You go through them sources. We got no problem. That's why we put the sources in there. You can come through the sources. You want to critique our information, go ahead and critique our information. Just, we just ask the man that you do it with respect, man, and we ain't got no problem with it, man. But that's it, man. Like I established what I wanted to establish. You established what you want to establish. The rest of the brothers, Sutek, Sean, Chavis, established what they want to establish. I don't think we need to go any further with it. I know I'm tired. I'm finna get ready to jump up off of him.
No, you ain't.
Yeah.
The bird said,
I'm gonna say one more thing, man. In Leviticus 26, it says, "As for the person who turns to mediums and to spiritualists to play the harlot after them, I will also set my face against that person and will cut him off amongst his people." So that's from the Bible. You know what I'm saying? He talking about some. I don't know. That's confusing.
Yeah, that's why they were taking in the slave trade. You didn't know that?
Yeah, I'm just saying though. I'm saying
God, Yahweh cut them off from their people. They was
because there was.
practicing that witchcraft, that Obeah.
That's what I'm saying. So how is that?
Got snatched up.
Come on, man.
That was the Most High. That was the Most High doing.
He's saying they can't do that. That's a no. He turn his face against you, cut you off. So that can't be some of him. So I don't.
Oh,
That's a major contradiction for me, man.
And I even have a word with the word witchcraft. I mean, that's a whole nother story, a whole nother showing by itself, man. But
That's it though.
it's not even.
Yeah.
Sure, go ahead, wrap us up, Coach.
Oh, I ain't got shit. I don't play no music, man. But shit, we appreciate everybody, man, for
let me do something.
No, sir. We appreciate everybody for tuning in, man, and you know, sharing a little bit of y'all time with us, man. We hope y'all was able to get a gist of why we did the show or why we feel like we had a issue with what Zion Lexx was actually talking about. I hope y'all go back and look at the video. Hope y'all, get those sources that we provided for y'all. And y'all go through and do your own due diligence of research. Don't take our word for it neither. Go back and do the same thing we saying that Zion Lexx did. He didn't apply those rigorous steps. He didn't apply that method. So y'all do the same thing with what we presented as well. You know what I'm saying? So on that note, man, we're gonna say peace and Black African power. Tomorrow, man, if y'all ain't doing nothing, and y'all want to tune back in, we'll be interviewing Sister Queen Cheetah. Everybody know who Queen Cheetah is. She's a very passionate sister, very intelligent sister. This is Black. This is I won't say Black, but Women History Month. So I'm trying to highlight a lot of Black sisters that I think that need to be highlighted, that that don't never get a shine, but you hear them in the chats, or you talk to them offline and you hear how intelligent they are, and you hear how some of the things that they're doing in their community and what they're doing for their family and etc. So just tune in tomorrow. If y'all missed the CK the Poet interview, go back and check that interview out. That was a great interview. This interview, I think, will be great. Some of the same questions will be asked, but there'll be other questions that asked. But tune in tomorrow at 5 p.m. One-on-one interview, Kofi Paisai and Queen Cheetah, man. That's all. Like I said, man, please like and share the show. Follow me on Instagram. I'm trying to get my Instagram up. I'm trying to get my TikTok up. So follow me on TikTok, Instagram. We need a group page. That's what we need. We need a group page. But on that note, man, peace, Black African power. I ain't got none of my equipment on to play y'all some music or anything, man. But we out of here, man. We'll see y'all tomorrow, man, 5 p.m. Central Standard Time, man. We out.
Yeah.